So I have been reading an insane amount of books lately. Like, so many books. Way more than we ever could have talked about on the show proper. So I figured I'd throw this lovely image up here of all of the books that I read this year, which doesn't even have all of them on it, because there's actually a few that I've read since I did this image. And encourage everybody to go and check out my reviews on all the various websites where I review books, because there's just way too many here to talk about. But just so you can see, all of these were really good. These are all like 4 and 5 star reads for me. Easy 4 or 5 star reads. But I am going to talk about one specifically that's not actually pictured here, which was one of my more recent reads that I think might be my favorite book of the year, called Saint Elspeth by Wick Welker. And interestingly, that was the book that won the self-published science fiction competition this year, which was one of the reasons why I wanted to read it. And it did not disappoint. It was pretty cool. So the basic premise and setup of it is that there's this apocalyptic event where a bunch of aliens arrive and don't actually reveal themselves. And so they're basically just sitting in these pods that they came to Earth in and not really doing anything. And eventually humanity just ends up freaking out about that and ends up trying to use nukes to destroy them, and essentially creates a atomic catastrophe or a nuclear catastrophe as a result. And only a handful of places in the world are untouched by that and end up still being habitable. One of them being the west coast of the United States. And so where the story picks up is with all these people who have come out of their bunkers and are now trying to repopulate the west coast and the major cities of California that are still standing. And there's this doctor who's actually the only doctor in the new colony of San Francisco that's available, who's basically trying to piecemeal put together a hospital that's running out of the old city hall of San Francisco. If you find that setup interesting, or you find that premise interesting, the book is quite good. But I'm not really going to go too much further into it so as not to spoil anything.
I have a question.
Yes,
Did the pods actually die? Were they destroyed?
they did not.
Even if the nuke hit them, they still survived?
Yes.
Okay.
So the nuking of them ended up being completely pointless.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite a tale. There are definitely some tropes that it leans on and some hallmarks of science fiction that you'll definitely recognize if you've read a lot of science fiction. But I do have to give this one a lot of credit for bringing some originality to certain things and kind of looking at things from a unique perspective, right? I mean, like, obviously the idea of following a doctor who's a lone doctor in a city trying to take care of thousands and thousands of people with very limited resources in a makeshift hospital is a very interesting premise, I think. And also the fact that Wick Welker, the guy who wrote the book, actually is an ICU doctor lends a lot of authenticity to all of that stuff. He's able to approach that stuff in a way that's very fact-based and very believable and really hits hard because he's obviously writing that from his own experiences professionally. So it's a very cool book. Would recommend.
Is it big?
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's a little over 400 pages, but it goes by pretty quickly. It's definitely a fast read with a few little sort of slower parts just for background and flavor and foundation. But especially once things get going, they move along at a pretty brisk pace.
I figured it was probably a bit longer because I thought, well, when you're explaining it with the whole setup and then
Uh-huh.
all this happened and then afterwards, I thought, well, you'd probably have to take a time to explain and get all that set up.
Yeah, everything that I explained happens in the first 50 pages or so. So nothing I told you just
Uh,
now is anything about the bulk of the book.
hmm,
That's just the very beginning of the
the
book.
setup. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. To your point, a very elaborate setup. He's given
Yeah.
you a lot to chew on there, even in those first 50 pages.
Hmm.
So, and then he delivers on it, which is the other thing, right? Because you could have a cool setup like that and then not really do anything interesting with it, but he really pays it off through the
Yeah.
rest of the book, which is, I think, a big part of what makes it work so well. Can definitely see how and why that book took the crown in that competition for sure. It makes sense to me that that would be at least a contender in something like that. So, but I've actually been reading a bunch of stuff lately, trying to squeeze things in for the end of the year. And like I say, if people want to keep up on that stuff, there's pretty much three book review sites that I'm trying to focus on now in terms of making sure I get everything posted there, which is basically Goodreads, the Book Radar, and the StoryGraph. So if you're on any of those sites and you track your reading there, you can definitely follow me to see all the stuff I'm reading and my reviews and all that sort of thing. Because I'm basically at a point where I'm reading and talking about far more books than we could ever cover on the show at this point. So I wanted to kind of throw that out there as a heads up for everybody. But I know you've been reading some stuff lately. What's been up in your neck of the woods?
Yeah. Well, the books that I read are more research based. So
Ooh.
I kind of was pulling stuff from the book bank in the house. It's funny because I couldn't remember where I put some of them. So it took me a while searching to get them. But I knew what I wanted. I just had to find them. So I got them up and I suppose I could review them, but they're also old. They've been reviewed to death
Mhm.
type of
Sure.
thing because I've been itching to try to write something in first person. And I
Hmm.
don't know why. I mean, I knew I did a couple short stories, but I'd always written in third person, which is kind of funny because my two favorite authors or like characters are both kind of written like that. If it's either Sherlock Holmes or Spencer,
Hmm.
it kind of dawned on me that obviously if I liked it so much, it'd probably be fun to write,
Hmm.
but just after four books, never did. So I wanted to see how it was done properly. So I dug through all my books and I just finished five, tried to vary them, all written in first person. I went back to a classic, which was The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, and it was still good, amusing. I mean, obviously for its time, I'm sure it was very, how could he write like that?
Hmm.
It's sort of dated now, of course,
Hmm.
but it was still an interesting read, and I still think that people should check it out because it was kind of a big turning point and probably a big influence on a lot of
Hmm.
authors
Yep.
to express himself as a character the way he did. No one really talked like that. You know, everyone was kind of the calm, silent type. You know, he just took it kind of thing. He
Hmm.
just doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
complains and about all his problems and foibles and stuff. And I'm sure it must have people just shocked people. But anyways, so I read that and sort of got in the rhythm. And then I need to switch it up a bit. So I read The Body by Stephen King, which a lot of people know as Stand By Me.
Hmm. Yep.
and that held up well. I mean, mine's just not that old. Well, it is, but it's not in the scheme of things.
Right. In the scheme
And
of literature, yes.
yeah, and it still held up really well. Sort of the looking back at a youth where I guess it meant a lot more to me because it was very
Hmm.
familiar with stuff we did
Sure.
in our youth.
Yep.
There was there was no one with phones or complaining that their battery was dead and that they'd missed their social media post. So
Right.
maybe for younger readers, they just be like, "Why are they walking down the tracks? Why don't they just call an Uber?"
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know. But for myself, it was very nostalgic read, and I enjoyed that one as well.
Hmm.
After that, I read The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Actually, I should
Oh.
say these are all rereads
Yeah, I
because
was
I've
going to
actually
say, yeah, this
read
was,
I've read
yeah.
all of these before.
Okay, yeah.
And that one was still good as well. It's tough after you read it before and you know where it's leading, but
Yeah.
when you've also watched the TV series, because there are a lot of changes
Hmm.
and they answer a lot more questions where the book, that doesn't really spoil it, I guess, if you haven't read it by now, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's kind of very open-ended
Hmm.
sort of ending. But by that point, I was really getting in the groove of this whole first person thing. So then I whipped out a book that was my Catcher in the Rye when I was younger, and that was Lesson Zero by Bret Easton Ellis.
Hmm.
You can tell because I'd read Catcher in the Rye first, it was obviously, I won't say copied, but it was obviously influential
Yeah.
in the writing of this book because the character almost seemed kind of the same.
Hmm.
He's like, oh, just kind of miserable about this, and I just don't care, and but in a modern setting.
Yeah.
So it was still really entertaining. I mean, I really liked the movie too,
Hmm.
but this book was good. Then I went to the old standby to finish things up with the Godwolf manuscript by Robert B. Parker.
Yeah. Nice.
Watch Spencer go and deal punishment on bad people
Hmm.
in that Boston area.
That is the first book in that series, right?
Yeah,
That's the very beginning of it, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. There's some other books that I've liked better, because of course, but it was the first, and I
Hmm.
wanted to look at how he did it as the first Spencer book.
Nice.
So yeah, yeah, this has been my whirlwind first person narrative book tour.
Yeah.
It was fun. Actually, I've got The Veil by Jonathan Jans up next.
Mm.
It's new, so that's
Hmm.
going to be my first new one. All the others were sort of moldy oldies.
Yeah.
So this one's going to be a
Classics.
new one. So
Yeah.
I think it's helped with my writing because I've been bombing along, but we shall
Hmm.
see. But very enjoyable. When you look at first person, you're always concerned when you're reading, well, you don't see other viewpoints or, you don't see like the murder happening from there. But it's cool to follow the one person.
Sure.
So,
Well, and also very cool to revisit things you enjoyed in the past and find that you still enjoy them, right?
yeah,
That's not always the case.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was worried about that. So, but I picked ones that I was pretty because I really wanted this to be a positive
Yeah,
affair
yeah.
because
Well, you picked some ringers there for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I made sure to get some good ones. So yeah, I'd like to read some more first person because I mean, as I said, a rainy day like it is today.
Hmm.
It's like snows, then it goes away, and we got a big dumping again. Now it's raining and it's like 7 degrees.
Yeah.
Bizarre weather here. But on a rainy day, to whip out a Sherlock Holmes story, nothing more satisfying.
Hmm.
So,
Nice.
yeah. So, first person, that's my new jam right now.
Excelente.
So, if any of you have a book out there that's first person and you're watching, leave it in the comments. Be happy to check it out, read it, because I'm into the first person groove.
There you go. Stoke his first person fire.
There you go. There you go.
Well, speaking of jams, I was going to talk about some music stuff. Because,
All
it's
right.
around this time of the year last year when I was talking about some of my favorite albums from last year. And I was thinking about that. And it occurred to me that when I looked through my playlist of all the new music I found this year, I did not find a lot of albums that I liked. I found a lot of songs, like hundreds of songs that I thought were cool that came out this year, and even some EPs and some little clusters of singles here and there. But yeah, this, for me anyway, was not a super strong year for albums, which I thought was kind of interesting, especially given how strong last year was, where I had like a embarrassment of riches, so to speak. But I did want to mention one album that came out near the end of last year, so it was after I talked about stuff, which is actually by one of my all-time favorite bands, probably easily in my top 10 all-time, which is Hooverphonic. They put out an album near the end of last year called Fake is the New Dope, which is definitely a banger. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the band, they're actually sort of an electronic symphonic band from Belgium. And they're kind of famous for having a lot of their music in movies and commercials and stuff like that, especially back in the 90s and the early 2000s. There was a period in time where you pretty much couldn't turn on the TV or watch a movie without hearing one of their songs in the background of it. And then they kind of fell into obscurity for a time after that. And actually, the lead singer, who has a very iconic, haunting voice, she ended up leaving the band for several years. And I sort of ended up losing interest in their output as a result of that because I kind of thought she was a very integral part of the band, and her not being part of it kind of made me somewhat less interested in what they were doing musically as a result. But a few years ago, she rejoined the band, and now they've put out a couple of new albums with her back front and center in her lead vocalist position. And like I say, this new one, this Fake is the New Dope album, I think is one of their best for sure. So if you were a fan of theirs from back in the day and maybe lost track of them, definitely check that new one out. And I'm sure if you already are aware of that one, that's probably already on your radar. But just wanted to throw it out there because honestly, that was one of the best albums I've heard in the past year or so, even though it technically came out at the end of last year. But having said that, I'm going to post a link in the show notes to my 2025 playlist on Spotify, which is where I basically put all of the tracks that I found that I thought were interesting this year. There's definitely tons of stuff on there, just not as many albums as usually are the case. But figured I'd throw that out there. What do you want to talk about next?
I have a question.
Oh, you have questions? Yeah, hit me.
So for you, when you're looking for new music and stuff on
Uh-huh.
Spotify, because I mean, I'll admit I'm pretty well stuck in the past. I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes I come across stuff that's new or whatever, and if it interests me, I'll look more into it. But I mean, I just put together like 25 playlists, like for
Hmm.
my workouts in the morning,
Hmm.
but I don't know if like any of them go past the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
Like like there's different variations of stuff, all different genres.
That's a really fair thing. A lot of people struggle with that. Actually, this was something that I started doing I started doing it really seriously back in 2016. This is the first year I really started going out of my way to find new music because I definitely been finding stuff just sort of organically or through friends and stuff like that
Okay.
for years. But I knew there was a lot out there that I just wasn't experiencing. And so one of the things that I really like about Spotify in particular is I think they have some of the best music discovery mechanisms of any of the music services out there. So they basically have the Discover Weekly playlist and the Release Radar playlist, which everybody gets by default. Like if you go to your home screen on Spotify and you scroll
Right.
down, there'll usually be like new releases for you or a new music Friday or some section on there. And basically, all of those playlists are populated based on stuff that you typically listen to. So, whatever you normally listen to on there, it will select songs for you that it thinks you have a reasonable chance of liking based on the other things that you listen to and other people's listening habits and all that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
then what's cool about it is if you like those songs or don't like them or put them onto playlists or don't put them onto playlists, the system gets better and better over the years of you using it at picking things that you're actually going to like. And so, for example, every week the release radar playlist gets updated every Friday based on new releases coming out, and it's always 30 songs. So when I first started checking that years ago, I'd maybe find one or two things that I liked or thought were interesting or thought sounded cool. Nowadays, when I check that list, I'll find dozens of songs just on that one playlist in a given week that I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I might listen to that again or throw that on a playlist or whatever. So it's definitely one of those things where the more you use it, the better it
Yeah.
gets. That's what's great about it is now having been doing it for 9, 10 years, it's really good at knowing what my taste in music is and surfacing stuff to put it front and center where I can see it easily. And that
Yeah.
helps a lot.
Huh. Yeah, it makes sense. It's funny because I'm always it's like I'm in the mood for this, but having been around as long as I have, I already have almost everything
Sure,
that I want,
sure.
so I don't look. But I really should look because that's how you find, new stuff, and
Yeah.
it's be interesting.
And the thing that I always say is there's so much good stuff being made by people all the time. It's not even just a music thing. It's like books, TV shows, movies, whatever, games, all the things we typically talk about.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff out there that's great that doesn't get the attention it deserves. People put all this time and effort and energy into making, and it just sort of languishes in obscurity, not because it's not good, but because people don't take the time to seek it out and find it because they're satisfied with the things they already have.
Yeah.
But especially with things that I'm super passionate about, like music, I really like to go out of my way to dig through that stuff and find those gems and find those things that aren't maybe getting the recognition I feel like they deserve. And so that's kind of a big motivator for me in doing that. It's really like that with just about everything. I'm like that with books. I'm like that with games. I'm like that with all the things I'm super into. But music in particular is something I've really put a lot of effort into in recent years. So, it's cool to see all that paying off. When I go and look for stuff now, it's so much easier than it used to be.
Yeah. So I'll do that. I'll check out. I'll be more earnest in doing that, like looking at the discovery, what they've picked for me, what the new releases they've picked for me that they think I would like, and see if it's right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The key to it is interacting with that stuff
Yeah,
because there's always like the star, the like button. So if you
yeah,
hear something and you really like it, then all you have to do is hit that button. And if you do that a few times, it's going to tune that stuff to you so
yeah,
much better than if you just listen to it.
yeah,
Or like I say, even putting it on a play, like basically any action that you take with that
yeah.
stuff is going to help it become better at recommending things to you. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. It's fun. Well, you know how you go on your streaming services every week and look at all the new releases for
Yeah,
movies and TV and stuff. It's the same exact thing.
yeah,
It's just for music. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna start doing that. So when I do my
Nice.
Friday new release stuff, I'll just add in my music as well.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and it's cool because music does it on Friday too. So it's all synced up for you.
Well, there you go. Oh,
Yeah.
Fridays are just getting better.
Friday is like
And
the
then I
best day.
finish it off with Hamburger Friday too.
Oh, nice. I don't think the people know about Hamburger Friday. We should let them
Well,
know about that
they should watch
tradition.
our show more often.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever mentioned it. We can reveal a little inside baseball thing if you ever want to know what Ron's having for dinner on Friday night. It's almost always hamburger.
That's right. It's Hamburger Friday. I love hamburgers.
Yep. It's an excellent choice. I mean, I never disparage a
And
good
it's
burger.
homemade hamburgers, not
Yes.
not like
Yeah. Yeah.
fast food
Legit.
takeout stuff.
Legit hamburgers.
Exactly.
Yes.
So to get back to your question,
Uh huh.
what I was going to talk about next,
Uh huh.
I was going to talk about some movies that I saw,
Nice.
and watched a bunch of actually good stuff. I've watched a bunch of garbage, but
We don't need to talk about that.
you don't have to talk about those ones. So I watched Good Boy, the much
Yes.
talked about movie, to see if all the
Yes.
hype was good. And I enjoyed it. I
Uh
felt really bad for the dog uh,
huh. Nice.
throughout because having being a dog owner. Um, but I, as much as I enjoyed it, I also felt, I guess I'd expected more
Uh huh.
when I saw it. Now, obviously, this dog is like unbelievably talented. I
Hmm.
was almost going, is this like CGI? Or this would
Yeah.
be like the best CGI ever.
Hmm.
But I was kind of like, this dog's got it all going on. Should be nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. But I I don't know how you describe it. Like it's a slow burn. It's short
Hmm.
and it almost comes across as kind of like a low budget
Hmm. Hmm.
film. Nothing against that. I mean, Night of the Living Dead was low budget.
Hmm.
My favorite film of all time.
Hmm.
But I guess just with the hype and everything, and I just was expecting more. But
Yeah.
it's literally the dog that carries this movie, which sounds so ridiculous to say out loud.
No, I get it. I mean, I've looked into this as well, and I totally get the vibe of the whole thing for sure. Yeah. But I could also absolutely see how a movie like that could become a victim of its own hype, right?
Yeah,
Where it's like if you just saw it and didn't know, like if people hadn't talked it up to you and you just saw
yeah,
it, you'd probably react to it differently.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's definitely worth watching. Um,
Hmm.
and I won't say anything about the ending or whatever because I know lots of I had skipped a lot of stuff because as soon as I see them, and I felt bad about this, or I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
zip, don't
yeah,
want to know, don't want
yeah,
to know.
yeah,
So I won't spoil what happens to the dog, but he is some kind of dog.
yeah,
I know I'm like gushing, but it's just like as I said, I was very suspect that it was CGI because I just couldn't get over how smart this dog was.
yeah, yeah,
And it, anyways, the dog really brought me in. Like
yeah,
I was invested in him.
yeah. Made the
So
experience. Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
don't know if I'd have saw it in the theater. I don't know what I would have said, but it's a great streaming movie.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
can check
Nice,
out Good Boy.
nice. That's definitely on my to watch list, and I've
Yeah,
purposely avoided too much information about it. I feel like I have just the perfect amount of information
yeah,
about it, and I just need to see it at some point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's on streaming now, so
Yep.
go to it. One
Nice.
big surprise I watched was a movie called The Bay.
Yes.
I was looking to kill some time, and it said it was like a found footage movie. And I looked at, they had a trailer. So, oh, they had a trailer. So I watched the trailer because usually I'll see a movie, the idea is okay. So you watch the trailer, and then it's like, you can tell it was shot on a phone or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, no. But this one I was looking and go, this looks like it actually could be good. So I put it on my watch list. And I was just in the mood for just something, I don't know, like that.
Uh,
And so I watched it, and it's just basically about a virus. Like Jaws, but instead of a shark going after a community,
hmm
it's this virus.
Yeah.
And it
Nice.
ended up being really good. It's
Nice.
really good. So yeah, I was surprised at how good it was. Probably the best found footage film that I've seen, right up there with Blair Witch.
Wow. Wow.
What else did I watch? Oh, I watched Frankenstein, the new version. Have you
The Del
seen it?
Toro one. I
Yeah.
have not. I've not, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, it was a good rendition. It was a good rendition. Um, Obviously beautifully shot.
Yeah. I mean, I love him as a director, so that's not surprising. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like almost spot on with the book.
hmm
So it's tough though, because I don't know how many variations of Frankenstein I've already watched.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
kind of like Dracula. Like I've seen so many of them.
Right.
But I'd say this one is probably one of the best
Nice.
that I've seen. So it was really well shot, really nice. Um, so yeah, I'd recommend that one. Motel Hell
Yeah. This was kind
for
of a
you
sleeper for you, right? Yeah.
yeah, for you schlock loving horror buffs. Uh, it was another one like the Bay that just I wasn't expecting a lot from, and
hmm
was actually went well over the bar of expectations.
Yeah.
It's a simple premise, but it was, it was there was humor. They were like took a look at like consumerism. It was like Night of the Living Dead. It had like different layers
hmm
to it. You had something to say, and yeah, it was fun. It's I mean some gruesome premise
hmm
about killing folk and making sausages and sell them. They're very popular though down wherever it was. I can't remember where it was based, but yeah, it was like Uncle something's fritters, something critters. Takes all kinds of critters to make Uncle Fester's fritters or something like
Nice.
that. They had some
Nice.
tagline. So it's an amusing, fun kind of horror romp. So if you haven't seen Motel Hell, it's out streaming as well.
Yeah, I mean,
This
that's
one,
the
it wasn't.
thing.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, sometimes you can have a really simple premise or even like a really common premise, but as long as the execution's good, that's all that really matters, right?
Yeah,
Like I've watched plenty of movies where it's like, oh, this is basically an idea that I've seen 100 times before, but if they do it really well, sometimes
yeah,
that's all I really need.
yeah. Yeah, well, they did. The acting was really good. The story kind of made sense. The idea, the idea and the gore was, the hooks were good. It was a good movie. So check that out. I wasn't going to talk about this one, but I just watched it, and I thought I'd throw it out there. Is Nobody 2.
Hmm. Yeah, I saw you
Now
post
I
about
haven't
that.
seen Nobody, and I
Uh-huh.
tried to find it on streaming services, but I could not on any of the ones that I have because they've spread the streaming services all over the place now.
Yeah, it's a disaster now.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I watched it and I really liked it. I thought it was kind of funny. It was lots of action, and it was one of those kind of raw kind of action movies too.
Hmm.
Do you know? Are you familiar with the premise at all?
Vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like this family guy who was actually like an assassin.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I don't know all the background from the first one because as I didn't
Hmm.
see it, but this one, all he wants to do is go on a vacation, take a
Hmm.
break with his family. But of course, he goes into a town that's like the center of all evil and drug dealing criminality.
Yeah, yeah.
And these criminals mess with the wrong guy. Shouldn't
Hmm.
have bugged him and his family on vacation. So if you thought the Griswold's family was their vacation was bad, nothing like this one.
Good times.
No. And I'll finish up not on a movie, but on The Blacklist,
Oh, yeah. Switching gears. Yeah.
which is a TV show that I've been watching. Have you seen
Hmm.
any of The Blacklist?
I've seen the first few episodes of the first season. I know the premise of
Yeah,
it, but I haven't gone too deep with it.
yeah. I thought it was a cool premise, and I thought, well, I'll just sit down because I've had it forever on my watch list, and it was just like I'm gonna kill an hour. I'll see if it's any good, and if not, just take it off the watch list once and for all.
Hmm.
So obviously, I waited a long time because it ends up it's like
Yeah.
10
Seasons.
seasons. I was
Yeah.
like, ah. So I started watching it, and I got hooked. I mean, some of the plots ridiculous with what goes
Hmm.
on, like, oh, a nuclear bomb dropped on you, but somehow you jumped into a gully and the bomb just sort of went over you,
Yeah.
which actually doesn't happen. Well, not on any of the episodes I watch, but that's kind of the picture of what happens.
Right.
But it
Right.
is, like I was mentioning earlier, it's like one of those raw kind of things that I'm all into. It's like just kind of do the impossible kind of things, and it's an
Would and I
amusing
would
show.
venture a guess that in a similar way to the way the dog carries Good Boy, I kind of feel
Yeah,
like James Spader kind of carries that show a little bit, right? Where it's like
James
his,
Spader
yeah,
is the show.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean all the others they could all die, wouldn't matter to me whatsoever. Yeah, definitely James Spader. It's his show, and he's the king of the show. And there's
That was
there's
definitely the impression I got from the first few episodes I did watch. And I could absolutely see why people could get hooked and invested just
yeah,
based on, the sort of like magnetic personality of his character for sure.
yeah, yeah. There aren't, I mean, obviously he's kept a low sort of profile in his personal life and kind of stuff because I
Hmm.
don't know, like he literally should be much bigger
I think he's
than he
very
is.
selective about the roles he takes is
Yeah,
part of it, right? Like I think he doesn't do just anything. He does things that
yeah,
he's particularly interested in. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But he's done crap loads. I mean, he wasn't that Law
Hmm.
series for a while.
Yeah, he was great on Boston Legal and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with this one, 10 seasons, and then the movies. But
Hmm.
going back, here's a callback. He was in Less Than Zero.
Yeah, I was gonna say less than zero. Yeah, you got that. Yeah.
Yeah, just popped my head. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, James Spader. It should just be called James Spader.
The show.
Yeah, yeah, James Spader or James Spader's Blacklist.
Yeah.
That's what it
Nice.
should. That's what it should be.
I don't even remember his character's name.
Reddington.
There you go. Nice.
So, because it's always like, it's like a, I don't know what you call it, like a Bond or sort of a spoof spy thing. It's just like all the crime, whatever they're doing, and then everything unfolds because he's come up with a better plan to destroy them. And it's, oh, Reddington, do you
Nice.
know who I am? I'm Reddington. And it's like, oh, I did not know, sir. Oh my God. Even though I have 100 guys with bazookas behind me, I did not know you were Reddington. And we're all
Why
bowed to
didn't you say
you.
so sooner? I would have surrendered immediately.
Yeah. So it's just it's cool. This character who just kind of does whatever. But yeah. But to get to those 6 shows, there were lots of mediocre and Dudley type duds.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of chaff you got to sift through to get to the wheat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those ones I all recommend. If you haven't seen them, check them out.
Hmm.
I give it a thumbs up. That was 2 thumbs
Excellent.
up. Very
Okay.
exuberant of me.
Yes. Super enthusiastic. Well, I'm going to mention one more thing I'm enthusiastic about before we get on out of here. And
Okay.
actually, I'm going to do kind of what I did with books here. I'm going to throw up a little image of the 12 games that I found and played this year that I was super into. But I'm going to talk about one of them specifically, which is sort of a personal favorite of mine, the series anyway. And it's something I've mentioned on the show previously, which is the new Demio game came out about a month ago. And the interesting thing about that is it's actually a tie-in game. You know, sometimes they'll do this whole like uh, such and such versus such and such, where they kind of take two franchises and bring them together when making something. So this new Demio game, they got the Dungeons and Dragons license. So it's Demio X Dungeons and Dragons Battle Marked is the full name of the game. And it is quite good. I've actually been playing it with my friends over the past few weeks, taking our time with it and really enjoying getting into it. It's basically if you're a fan of tabletop role playing games like Dungeons and Dragons and you enjoy experiencing those things in video game form, this game is pretty much a must play as far as I'm concerned. Could well end up being my game of the year for sure. Just really well done, good budget, good aesthetics, real solid gameplay. Can play it by yourself, can play it with up to 3 friends. It's just one of those things that kind of checks all of my boxes and hits all the things that I really love in video games. So I definitely wanted to give it a shout out here as we kind of wrap things up.
Is that on stream you got it?
It's on Steam.
Or
The Mac version and the Windows version came out on the same day. And I believe it's actually coming out for Xbox and PlayStation and a few other things as well. I think they're doing like a full court press as far as getting it put out on as many different systems as possible. I just think some of those release dates are staggered a little bit because I think they wanted to get the Mac version and the PC version or the Windows version kind of out and stabilized first before they started rolling the other ones out. But if you're into those sort of games, things like Baldur's Gate or Fire Emblem or any of the big strategy role playing games, you definitely don't want to sleep on that one for sure. I guess the only other thing I'll mention real quick while we're talking about games is I watched the Video Game Awards this year and saw all kinds of stuff during that I was interested in, but most of those games won't be coming out till next year. That's definitely an interesting thing that's worth a watch if you're into video games at all. There was lots of cool stuff on the Video Game Awards this year. Well, having said all of that, I think we're just about ready to get up on out of here. Hopefully, you folks have enjoyed this little off the clock detour. I know we haven't done one of these in a while, but figured it was time to give you folks some more stuff to chew on while we get ready to do our next episode, which will probably be happening in February of 2026. That's kind of the plan right now. And yeah, hopefully you folks all have a happy holiday season. Enjoy the rest of your year, and we'll see you next year.
Happy holidays.
But yeah.